When BTS members are serving their mandatory military duties, every little mention of them in public becomes a treasure for ARMY. But this time, the fandom didn't just get a small update, they got a shock. During a recent interview, RM, the leader of BTS, unexpectedly mentioned Jimin's name in a way that sparked countless theories and emotional responses. What was the context behind his words? Why did this single mention create such a stir among fans? This is not just a story about a name drop, it's a story about friendship, longing, and the enduring bond between two artists who, even in distance, continue to inspire each other and the world. In early May 2025, RM appeared on a special segment of a cultural podcast discussing music, identity, and the future of artistry. As expected, he spoke eloquently about his own growth and thoughts on music. But what took everyone by surprise was a subtle moment when the host asked about emotional support during tough times. RM paused, smiled gently, and said, "Sometimes, when I'm stuck creatively or emotionally, I think about what Jimin would say to me. He has this way of grounding me." The studio stayed silent for a moment. Then RM continued, "Jimin's voice isn't just soothing when he sings. It's comforting even in my memories. I still carry some of our last conversations with me." ARMY exploded. Within minutes of the interview airing, phrases like RM mentioned Jimin, Namjoon and Jimin, and emotional RM became trending topics on Twitter, Weverse, and TikTok. Fans dissected the moment second by second, rewatching the clip for any deeper meaning in RM's expression and tone. Some noticed how RM's voice wavered slightly. Others claimed his body language showed a quiet vulnerability, the kind that only arises when someone truly misses a dear friend. The fandom began circulating clips of RM and Jimin's past interactions, from heartfelt moments during concerts to quiet conversations during documentary shoots. It was clear RM wasn't just answering a question, he was expressing something much deeper. To understand the weight of RM's words, one has to look back at the rich relationship between him and Jimin. From BTS's early days, RM and Jimin have shown mutual admiration. RM once said that Jimin was the member who worked the hardest to improve himself, calling him a living inspiration. Jimin, on the other hand, has often referred to RM as his anchor and someone he looks up to in moments of doubt. Their bond is not loud, but it runs deep, often expressed in quiet moments. A reassuring pat, a shared laugh, or an encouraging text during hard times. This is why RM mentioning Jimin during a personal reflection hit the fandom so hard. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was a message. Fans and analysts began speculating. Was there more to RM's statement? Some believed it hinted at a future collaboration. Could there be unreleased material between RM and Jimin? Had they written lyrics together before military enlistment? Others saw it as a sign of emotional struggle, with RM subtly expressing how much he missed his group members, especially someone as emotionally attuned as Jimin. A few even suggested the statement could be linked to a song lyric in RM's recent project, which mentions a voice that keeps me calm, like summer rain. Something that suddenly made more sense after the interview. Just days after the interview aired, HYBE posted a clip on their official YouTube channel titled Echoes, RM's Thoughts on Music. Surprisingly, the video included extended cuts from the podcast interview, particularly the part where RM talked about Jimin. It seemed deliberate. The clip was polished and emotional, set to a soft piano instrumental. The inclusion of that specific segment further fueled speculation that HYBE might be preparing a post-military BTS-related campaign, possibly centered around their emotional connection as a group. Some fans pointed out how HYBE rarely uploads non-promotional content unless it serves a bigger narrative. One of the reasons the moment resonated so strongly is because both RM and Jimin are known for their emotional honesty. They're artists who don't hide behind superficial statements. They reflect deeply, and they love with intensity. In the military, where communication is restricted and contact is limited, even a fleeting memory becomes precious. A letter, a shared lyric, or a remembered word, it all holds weight. For RM to say he thinks of what Jimin would say to him shows just how intertwined their journeys are. It's the kind of bond that time or distance can't erase. Following the interview, thousands of fan letters poured in. Some wrote messages addressed to RM, thanking him for reminding them of the power of friendship. Others wrote to Jimin, expressing how loved he still is even while serving. Weverse was filled with touching posts, fan art of RM and Jimin together, and even fictional stories imagining what Jimin might say to RM in return. One viral fan letter read, "Dear Namjoon, thank you for keeping Jimin close even in your heart. Through your words, we heard his voice too." A popular theory emerged. RM might be planning a solo track inspired by Jimin. The phrase, "I think about what Jimin would say to me," began being quoted as potential lyrics. Musicians online started composing melodies around it, and a few even produced fan songs inspired by the moment. It wouldn't be the first time a BTS member used personal memories as creative fuel. Jimin's Promise and RM's Forever Rain are both examples of how intimate emotions can create powerful music. Could we be seeing the seeds of RM's next masterpiece? As the excitement slowly settled, one thing became clear. RM's comment wasn't just about Jimin, it was about connection, about how people influence us, remain in our thoughts, and continue to shape us even when they're not physically present. In a world where BTS members are separated due to duty, such moments remind fans, and the members themselves, that their bond is unbreakable. It also showed a vulnerable side of RM, a leader who often carries the weight of expectations, opening a small window into his heart. In just a few sentences, RM reignited a wave of emotion, connection, and hope. By mentioning Jimin, he didn't just stir nostalgia. He reassured ARMY that their relationships are still alive, still meaningful, still echoing across distance and time. For fans waiting, longing, and counting the days until BTS reunites, RM's quiet words were more powerful than any announcement. Because sometimes all it takes is a name, softly spoken, to remind the world of a love that endures.